You know ID in the town all day. ID in the SEA. You know ID in the town all day. ID in the SEA.
Hello and welcome to episode 501 of the fabulous Peltoncast, sponsored by our friends at Pagliacci Pizza. I'm your co-host, Kevin Pelton.
And I'm Tristan Carcino.
And we're coming to you in separate locations today. I am back from Maui and back in Seattle, Washington, home of the parade and the AL West champion Seattle Mariners.
And I'm coming to you from Renton, Washington, home of the Super Bowl 60 champion Seattle Seahawks.
There it is.
Wow.
Woo, does that hit?
Should we do both? Should we do both champions?
I think
so.
Just
do the most recent, the Super Bowl 48 and 60 champion Seattle Seahawks.
I think for this week, it's the Super Bowl 60 champions because we are specifically still basking in the afterglow of the Seahawks dominating the New England Patriots in the Super Bowl and not celebrating enough in the minds of some people on the internet.
The team didn't celebrate enough.
Yes.
It's because they felt the same thing that I felt all year. Like they celebrated on Wednesday. That's how my journey and the Seahawks journey is about the same, I would say.
Yeah, very similar. Very similar.
They celebrated a little bit more when they won the NFC Championship, where I was like,
that was the point from third Pelton brother Ben Baldwin.
That they basically were like, we won the Super Bowl last week.
This was the 2 weeks ago, but this was the real Super Bowl, was playing the Rams. I ran into a Rams fan in Maui and said as much.
They ran into a Rams fan?
Yeah.
How I didn't even know such a thing existed.
Well, they weren't from LA. They were from Hawaii.
Oh, God.
Obviously.
How do they not adopt the Rams fans?
I don't know. Maybe Puka Nacua. I don't know.
Fair enough.
There are reasons.
Could be older if there's
than
a
that.
single Rams fan there on their own, does that count as a parade for the Rams? Because that would be the same amount of people that they had at their parade.
I assume some people like parades. They made it like the Rams.
There was 20,000 people. That's the number.
Is that the number?
Yeah.
And so we're going with 100,000 for the Seahawks parade on Wednesday?
Okay, no, I'm not a stat astronomer like you.
Oh, God.
But I feel like 1 million is a lot more than 20,000.
Sorry, yeah, I said 100,000 because it was off by
not 100,000, a million people.
Yeah,
only 20,000 people showed up to the Rams parade.
Because
it's like you could have personally shaken hands with Matt Stafford and Cooper Kupp, as it were. Must have been so strange for him to see people at a parade. The number, literally, the story from CBS News: thousands descend upon downtown LA for Rams Super Bowl parade. Hundreds in attendance.
It's okay though, because downtown LA is not actually that big of a place. Yeah, so let's start with the parade experience. You were at the celebration in Lumen Field, which this time they did first, as opposed to in 2014 when that was the culmination of the freezing cold parade route. So tell us a little bit about that experience and stop looking up Rams attendance figures for their parade.
I was looking at what Cooper Kupp was wearing, actually, in fact. But, well, you could see him in the front of because obviously he was the MVP. He's holding up the trophy. But
right.
It was interesting to see what Coop was wearing for that one. Not a Mariners jersey.
Weird.
It was great. I mean, they had basically half the stadium. It was open to anybody. The last time it was just open to season ticket holders, as far as I recall. And we sat in our actual seats for that one. It just felt like this one was a little bit more energetic. I think maybe because it was at the beginning and because it wasn't as cold as the last one was, but because it was open to everybody. People were pretty excited. They had all of the vehicles on the field that the players were going to be riding on for the parade after. And then everybody entered kind of slowly. And then players who spoke, I mean, everybody's seen this, but like AJ Barner, I think really stood out. I had no idea who he was at first until they introduced him. But it was one of those moments where you're like, the players that you've loved for a long time, but you love them because of football. And then you see their personalities. You're like, oh, I'm like happy that I chose this person to love. And at like AJ Burner, as we call him forever, from like week 1 last year, I was like, that dude's great. He's going to be an awesome tight end. That's clearly going to be a Super Bowl winning tight end.
Very specific prediction.
John Schneider, it was so funny that you heard the joke about Ken Walker just tried to negotiate with him 5 minutes ago.
Yeah.
There's like, I hate my least favorite thing, and you have to deal with this in the NBA more than anything else, is the Instagram pages that aggregate like jokes. And they were like,
do
it
I
was
have
like,
to deal with
Ken
this
Walker
in the NBA?
tried to negotiate with John Schneider while drunk, and I'm like, he's joking. People, cool the fuck off. But I love that hearing kind of drunk John Schneider at 10 a.m. speak was amazing, and I really was thinking on it. I was like, this trophy, like, obviously everything matters to everybody. I think John Schneider is the person who probably took the most joy out of this and maybe should have taken the most joy out of it, because the journey that he's been on more than almost anybody else is
What a journey.
like kind of unprecedented, right? I think he's one of few GMs to have won a Super Bowl with kind of two different regimes. It's a difficult thing to do. A lot of times it's like one regime ends and then you have a really hard time building it back up. But for John Schneider to have done it again with this team, I think about it like when watching like children play sports or something, or like when I'm coaching and they do something great. And I'm just like, I'm so happy about this. Like, you're almost happier for everybody else than you are for yourself. And it feels like
Right.
John Schneider in that one was like, he built it again, and he got to see this whole new group of children that he raised be champions again. And I think that's something that was pretty cool to have John Schneider there. Obviously, Steve Rabel hosting again. Steve Rabel's getting older, but like been the voice of the Seahawks through this time period. Getting a chance to hear Devin Witherspoon speak, Jackson Smith and Jigba, where I was like, turned to Chris because he has like a kind of a thick accent, and I was like, I can't tell if he's drunk or just from Texas. And Chris was like, or Gen Z. What are the three options?
Sounds like a game show on Olds Live.
The Sam Darnold shirts with him flipping off like with the cigar, I was just like, I loved every second of it. I love how much the team rallied around Sam Darnold too.
So, I mean, particularly the defense, like it is very funny in the wake of like, Mike Sean's book about the Legion of Boom era and everything that sort of came out about the backstory of the animosity between the defense in that period and Russell Wilson. And to contrast that with Ernest Jones IV being like Sam Darnold's number one supporter and defender throughout this all.
He really has leaned into it too, which I love.
Oh yeah.
Obviously Ernest Jones closing it with his message was amazing. And it really just felt like this team, they are the most likable today to me that they were at any point in the season. It's almost like a pep rally, where it's kind of, I was like revering a little bit too close to like having what are the things that Trump does, right?
No, I think those are rallies.
I guess rallies in general. But I was like, if they did something preseason, you get a chance to hear players talk a lot. But I was kind of like, they should do it the beginning of the year. Maybe nobody would go. I don't know. But like, there need to be more opportunities to hear from the players themselves and to kind of like hear them talk in a setting like that. And maybe it's just that I'm not paying attention to them because they're interviewed constantly,
They have opportunities to speak. They're called podcasts.
Yeah. No, that's only until they're retired, and then they get to complain about things.
No, players do podcasts now when they're active.
But it really is nice to just like go and hear the players from their perspective, like how excited they are about it. I thought that was awesome. So it really kind of like Gray Zabel with the two Busch Lights. After the Super Bowl, it's a bad night to be a Busch Light. Like I just freaking, I again, Gray Zabel, personality wise, freaking love him. With the two cans there, everybody was having a great time. It felt like the city really rallied around this team in a way that, like you go to the games and you see it, and like driving around the night before, I felt like this one was a little bit more muted than the last one, even just the feeling of it than the 49 Super Bowl. But
like leading up to, or
the night before driving around, I remember driving around before Super Bowl 49, looking at the city, and it was just like all blue and green. It felt like everywhere you looked, I was like, like you can feel it in the air. And I couldn't quite feel that the night before this Super Bowl. There were like a bunch of houses with Christmas lights, but there weren't that many. And it wasn't overwhelming. And after this, being there, cramming onto the train with 1 million of your closest friends, and easily the most packed train I have ever been on, to possibly dangerous levels, it really was like, damn, this city has rallied behind this team. And 1 million people is a lot of freaking people to have shown up.
A lot of people. I don't know at what point Seattle passed 1 million residents in the area. Like,
well, it's obviously not only people from Seattle,
but I'm saying in the region. But I'm saying I don't know if it would be in our lifetimes that the Seattle metropolitan region went over 1 million, but I don't know.
I think there were definitely people who are feeling that same thing, though, that it almost took winning the Super Bowl to be like, this is real with this team and the way that it started. And I think what we're going to experience, I mentioned this to you before, was uh, you and I remember that the loss to the Falcons, right?
100%.
In the Super Bowl 47 year. And that it just felt like we had something taken from us. It was like, this is the best team. I need more football. And that feeling of somebody brought this up today where it's like Mike McDonald, after the game was over, he was like, I'm just sad there isn't practice tomorrow, which granted the Seahawks played the maximum amount of football that can be played. Or I guess they did play a wild card round game, so they could have played one more game. But like the Seahawks played as long as they could. But there's something about that, just like I want to just keep going. It feels like there's this emptiness now. All of a sudden, we're celebrating, and I think this Seahawks team, I think this offseason is weirdly going to feel like that offseason before the Seahawks won the Super Bowl, because people are rallied the fuck around this team all of a sudden, and a lot of it is going to look the same. We could do our ins and outs of players, but like the core of this team is going to look the same next year. And I think that's also what's exciting about it, is we like these players so much more today than we did 3 months ago.
Yeah, I mean, there wasn't that feeling of anticipation for this season. I don't know if I would go so far as to call it trepidation, but there was like prove it.
It was a season.
You love the prove it. And after the getting rid of Geno Smith and DK Metcalf and replacing them with Sam Darnold and Cooper Kupp, there was that sense of, there was excitement about Clint Kubiak's offense and what that might be able to unlock, and, a sense that Mike McDonald's defense was set. But how that was going to translate, especially in a division as tough as the NFC West proved to be, was a question mark. And now we're going to have that sort of anticipation with the accomplishment. It's sort of like if the 2012 Seahawks had won that Falcons game and won the Super Bowl, is kind of what this season ended up being.
Yeah, no, it was definitely one of those seasons where they sort of came out of nowhere, and then they just won the whole fucking thing.
Which they would have won the Super Bowl if they had beat the Falcons, right? They would have beat the 49ers in San Francisco.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, just after having demolished them recently.
It would have gone through the Harbaugh gauntlet.
We'll see. We're in like neophyte phases of this particular Seahawks run, and so it's almost hard to predict how it will play out from here, which we don't need to. We already won the Super Bowl, right? Like, that's great. But I do think a lot of what you're talking about the like Pete Carroll team and how everybody treated the quarterback and the defense treated the quarterback, a lot of that happened with more baggage over time. It wasn't necessarily in this moment that we're in a week out from winning the Super Bowl. There was definitely baggage before then. I do think I trust Mike McDonald to carry over a football organization more than I trust Pete Carroll. And I think Pete Carroll really wanted...
That's a tough one.
He wanted the players to speak their minds in a lot of ways. And I don't know if that particular mentality that Pete had led to a communal team perspective. In the same,
I don't think it was about speaking their minds. I think it's more about, if everything is so relentlessly competitive, like, can that generate friction between, because it's the offense and the defense are going up against each other in practice every day. So obviously you want, like, but every, this is a Bill James thing. Every strength is a form of weakness and vice versa. And if competition is your strength, it's also therefore your weakness.
I think Sam Darnold is going to become a much more famous person this offseason. Sam Darnold is a much more famous person than he was beforehand. But like,
I don't know, it's weird. He just got so relatively little of the, even though he was at the parade at Disneyland.
I think Darnold got the attention. I think Darnold is going to be the most famous person, more than JSN, more than anybody. Like, he's going to be the famous person. He's
I mean, yes, and we can get into the demographics of it as
he's
well.
He's a tall, good-looking white man. But like, I do think his journey, it was interesting. Like, I think Geno Smith the journey meant that when he had it, a little bit like framed how he responded to those negotiations, maybe a little bit incorrectly. He also was here through regime change, which is a difficult thing to do, to be a quarterback between two different coaches. And
I mean, given the contract he got with the Raiders, I don't think he handled it incorrectly, but
no, I mean, he obviously handled it correctly, but it did feel like I think Sam Darnold might be able to approach this a little bit better than what ended up happening with Russell Wilson and that defense. I don't think Sam Darnold is going to feel bigger than the Seahawks.
I guess what is interesting about Darnold is, like, it doesn't feel to me like he feels like he has something to prove to everyone who doubted him in the way that Geno Smith did. You know, his response has always been more muted to kind of when he has had success. And I think that's part of what the defensive players are reacting to, that if he's not going to say this himself, you know, fuck the haters essentially,
Yep.
then we're going to go out and say it for him.
Yep.
Because we believe it and we feel it too. So that I do think is a part of what has made that sort of, bond and unity among Darnold and the defense, in a way that even I'm sure Geno Smith was, very popular with the Seahawks defense, but it wasn't the same sort of, we're the guys on the playground looking out for our buddy, our ginger cuz.
They're like a little differently structured than the previous team, but the reality is both of those teams could have won the Super Bowl without the quarterback.
With a different quarterback, yes.
Or with a different quarterback along the way. Not every game, but the Super Bowl itself, like Sam Darnold got a lot of the credit in the end. Drew Lock could have started that game. The Seahawks could probably still win.
I mean, Drew Lock could have started 2 of the 3 playoff games. They needed Sam Darnold for the Rams game, and he stepped up with one of the great performances of his career. So that's how you do it.
I definitely love seeing Big Cat speak also, because it felt like people weren't talking about him enough during this playoff run. So many different defensive players were getting attention. So him getting to speak, I thought was amazing. I think Devin Witherspoon, like my main takeaway post Super Bowl is just that Devin Witherspoon is maybe the greatest football player in the face of the earth right now. And like the way that he is playing right now, having him on this roster and what Mike Macdonald can do with that is like, it was hilarious to be like, oh, Christian Gonzalez when he knocked down like some lame duck throw. And I'm just like, these two people are not playing the same sport at the moment. Devin Witherspoon is the best corner in coverage. He's the best corner at blitzing.
I don't know.
Devin Witherspoon is
the best corner in coverage. He's a very good corner in coverage.
I don't know what his coverage grade is necessarily, but being at PFF number 1, like Devin Witherspoon is at a different level than and even almost anybody else on that.
He's just he's not playing the same position as Christian Gonzalez.
He's playing a much more important one.
I mean, yes, he's playing the same position as Jalen Ramsey was for the Rams. That's what he's playing.
And I think it's been very cool to see those breakdowns of everything that Devin Witherspoon did to disrupt the game. And I think that's been like one of the most exciting pieces post Super Bowl, because that's one of the fun parts is like you like watching the games and then also the breakdown of just how things happen, and that's why I think football is the most fun sport to break down. There's not really like with baseball, you could break down pitch by pitch. Here's how they're doing this. Here's how they're playing this. You could question like the pitch hitting and the bullpen decisions and stuff like that. But football, you get to see something in the moment, experience it, the outcome of it, and then you get to go back and be like, why did all this happen?
And then you get to go back and have the people who are experts in this debate why it happened, because they're not even 100% sure. But sometimes Sean McVay thinks he has an explanation, and it turns out there might be a different explanation. But yeah, no, seeing Cooper Kupp explain on the Kelsey podcast that he on AJ Barner's touchdown had to scratch his route at the line because of a degree of confusion of it. Like, okay, that's why he went and paid Cooper Kupp on top of all the other things. And then the explanation sort of what the Seahawks were able to do to the Patriots defensively and the confusion that they created, like none of it would make me feel very good whatsoever if I were a Patriots fan. And it speaks to your point about Mike Macdonald and where he is at schematically. Look, I mean, people are going to figure things out. He's going to have to keep advancing, but he used those 2 weeks in a very Belichickian fashion to do something totally different in terms of the pressure with Devin Witherspoon than they had done at all late in the regular season. And the important thing to note here is we completely called it in every single way between my Devin Witherspoon prop bet on him getting a sack and your picking him as one of your Super Bowl MVP picks, even though he obviously didn't win that award.
He's the best player in the defense. But knowing that they were going to blitz him, I'm surprised. They used Nicky Manori a little bit different, which obviously the injury makes sense for that. But they really were like.
But I think this had that game plan had to predate that.
They were going to do that, and they were like, we are charted doing this, but we could do this. Right. You know what I mean? And that is the genius of it. for
Yeah.
Mike Macdonald. The other thought that I had was, I think seeing some of the all-time stats that the Seahawks had during this particular Super Bowl run, and for his coaching career in general, Mike Macdonald, I'm saying this not like a Mariners hot take style, Mike Macdonald is the best football coach on the planet, excluding nobody. And he's playing football at the absolute highest level, and he is also winning at the absolute highest level. Some of the all-time best DVOAs are the current Seahawks season, or some of the seasons that he was leading that Ravens defense, which, like, I'm sure Ravens fans have to be pretty upset with how things have played out overall, that, you know, John Harbaugh is now gone and Mike Macdonald is in Seattle. But like the way that he is able to manipulate defense and to have defense win football games is unlike almost any coach of the last 2 decades. You know, there have been very good defensive coaches. Mike Macdonald has now done this for quite a few years. This isn't just like a one-time thing. You know, sometimes it was like, I remember Robert Saleh's Jets early on, and I was like, that was like a pretty good defense, but they never put it together. You know, they never like did anything beyond that. There have been a lot of people who can get it to the place of, like, even the Vikings, right? Like, that's like a pretty good defense. It's a scary defense. But what the Seahawks have done defensively is at a radically different level, except against the Rams. But as I think Mike Macdonald is going to be spending the entire offseason understanding how they're going to be able to beat the Rams, because they just shredded this defense 2 times this season. But what he is able to do at the absolute highest level is go out and win games and have all-time historic performances with good talent. But it's not like, this isn't the Dodgers. You know, nope. They're a good and talented team overall. But like you talked about on the Super Bowl podcast, with the amount of players that were in top 10s, like, it is, Mike Macdonald has them playing as the best defense in the league, one of the best defenses of all time. Like, he is it. He is the pinnacle of football coaching at the moment.
Well, I mean, I don't think that would come out of the college game. And Mike Macdonald didn't win Coach of the Year, but he faced the Coach of the Year in the Super Bowl, and the game went the way it did. So I don't think it's a controversial take. Obviously, what we don't know is, you know, how does Mike Macdonald handle coaching 10 years with a team in the way that John Harbaugh or Mike Tomlin did, or Pete Carroll in Seattle. And that
I will tell you, wait, who are the coaches that you said? John Harbaugh,
I mean,
Mike Tomlin, and Pete Carroll. He has the same amount of Super Bowls as any of those coaches.
Yes. I'm trying to think of who would be the best example of someone who has won Super Bowl and is not. Is it Nick Sirianni? Also has the same number of Super Bowls.
I mean, Nick Sirianni is one of the most successful coaches. It's funny, like, people criticize him, but the team has been really good every year he's been their coach.
But there's an element of longevity that matters too. But if you're,
but that's what I'm saying is, Mike Macdonald did it with the Ravens. He did it at Michigan, and he's done it here. Like, there's almost no place that he hasn't had an excellent defense.
I think the question is,
team overall.
If you're like, I'm preparing a team to play one game, and my life is on the line, yeah, you're picking Mike Macdonald right now.
I mean, it is kind of absurd that maybe 3 of the 5 best coaches in the NFL all are in the same division.
Wow, you're willing to allow that with Kyle Shanahan?
That I'm only for the point that will. If we're being honest with ourselves, the number 1 and number 2 best coaches in the NFL are in the same division.
No wonder Clint Kubiak wanted the Raiders job and not the Arizona job.
I mean, are you joking? I'm sure that's why. Wouldn't you say?
I don't know that that's the single factor, but I do think it is a factor in it.
They have the number 1 pick in the draft. Like, yes, the AFC West is also dangerous, but
those coaches are also at a very different stage. You know, I don't know that Sean McVay is going to do this forever, and we'll see, you know, how Mike Macdonald thinks about it. But Mike Macdonald and Sean McVay are not only very good coaches, and Shanahan, they're all super young, as opposed to the AFC West does have a tremendous number of accomplished coaches, and
yes,
including the aforementioned Jim Harbaugh. But they are at a later stage of their career: Andy Reid, Sean Payton, and Jim Harbaugh. So. Anyways, I don't know how this ended up into a discussion about Kubiak and coaching.
All I'm saying is that I I think Mike Macdonald is excluding nobody. Then it's not true for every Super Bowl winner. You know what I mean? I wouldn't have said the same thing about Nick Sirianni last year.
That was my point. Yes.
It wasn't, but it's not like every single year the person who just won the Super Bowl. Like Andy Reid is a very good coach. Maybe all time Andy Reid is like, probably like a top 5 coach of all time. But he also had Patrick Mahomes.
Right.
And Mike Macdonald didn't. He didn't have the benefit. And even sometimes when you win a Super Bowl, when you don't have the most talent, that doesn't necessarily make you the best coach. He had a historically great team with a team that didn't have the most talent across the league. And he has done it over and over and over again.
It's done it multiple times.
His entire tenure, like a lot of the top DVOA seasons of all time have been Mike Macdonald coached teams. So,
and weirdly, the Ravens the year after Mike Macdonald left.
It took 2 years.
I do want to correct. The listener may have been shaking their head. The Seattle metropolitan area reached 1 million in population in 1950, but it was still only 2 million in 1980.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Seattle.
No, I was talking about the metropolitan region, which is at 4 million now. It hasn't it has doubled since in our lifetimes, but the growth has not been quite as explosive and propulsive as I was thinking. So. But still, that's like a quarter of the population turned out for the parade.
It's more than the population of Seattle itself, though.
That sounds right, yeah.
Which is like 800,000.
It's just because yeah. Anything else on the parade?
I think that's it. I'm ready for more football.
I have such a vivid memory of podcasting after the parade in 2014, but it was also the college football signing day, and we went through recruit by recruit with the famous Cousin Katie in a way that we would never do today. So that was it was a different time. It was a different time 12 years ago, but fun nonetheless. All right, let's get moving with what is fittingly the Levi's episode of the Peltoncast. After the Seahawks triumph at Levi's Stadium, number 501. Short toast this week. I mean, obviously, the toast of the Seahawks.
Did you put out 500? Did that come out?
Do you mean the
clip show?
It has not come out yet. It's going to come out after 501. I am like, I have compiled all the clips, but I wasn't able to finish transcribing the script of it, or recording the script of it in between those clips. So that'll come out at some point over the weekend.
Okay. I wasn't sure whether I missed that or not.
You were shockingly uninformed on when podcasts come out for us. Anyways, short toast this week, besides obviously the Seahawks. Congrats to Cal Raleigh, who will be the cover player for the Baseball Hits 26 video game, which is definitely a thing I knew existed.
All the kids be playing Baseball Hits 2026.
You're gonna have to get Baby Fantasy Genius on there.
It's like an app video game more than it is like a...
That's what I figured from reading about it. It's because it's like a one key or something.
Well, a toast.
I mean, still, they had to pick a cover athlete, and it's awesome that it's Cal Raleigh, who would not have...
I'm surprised that he's not on MLB The Show. Have they announced that yet?
I probably would stand to reason. But I do not know that information. Aaron Judge.
Aaron Judge?
Yeah.
Him? The MVP?
How many homers did he hit in the playoffs? Many are asking.
What a stupid choice.
Also plays for such like an unpopular, unknown
small market team.
The New York Yankees. I mean, when was the last time the Yankees made the ALCS?
Yeah.
Huh.
It's been years since they had a 60 home run hitter. Cal Raleigh has to break the record this next year to get on MLB The Show.
That's the only way to do it. You think? Yeah, there's no way any Seahawks are going to be on the cover of Madden. All right.
No way any Seahawks are going to.
I don't think they're going to be famous enough to be on the cover of Madden. Has a Seahawk ever been on the cover of Madden?
Sean Alexander?
Yeah, I thought so. Yeah.
It was Saquon last year. I'm not going to say no chance.
I mean, Saquon is considerably more famous than any member of your Seattle Seahawks. Who's the most famous member of the Seahawks? Is it Darnold?
It's Darnold.
Yeah. but it's still sort of famous for being infamous.
As far as who's on I'm like Puka Nakua, like Stafford. I don't think they'd put Drake May on it.
That feels if the Patriots would won the Super Bowl, then Drake May makes sense. Yeah, I agree. Otherwise, it's a year early for him. I don't know.
I don't
It's
know.
Josh Allen, I assume has been already.
I feel like he has, but I can't think of it. I was just looking that up. Yeah, he was on Madden 24. It was Josh Allen. So I don't know. You might be looking at Sam Darnold on the cover of Madden 27.
Well, look,
I'm not ruling it out.
Modeling runs in the family. We know.
Hell yeah.
All right, it's time for to discuss week 2 of Lil Woody's Seattle Burger Month. This week we have the $T$ burger from Taylor Thornhill of Ciudad. On a classic quarter pound patty, we have a charcoal aioli, caramelized onions, cauliflower kraut, Gruyere cheese on a brioche bun. So I don't know how I'm going to feel about this. I have not had it yet, obviously, since I am recently back into the city. I don't know how I'm going to feel about the cauliflower kraut. I'm going to try it, but I can't promise I will finish it. The kraut specifically, not the burger. And with
That's
that,
wrong. You don't know how you feel about the cauliflower kraut?
I mean, I acknowledge that I'm wrong. But the heart wants what it wants. Are you looking this up?
Yeah, I'm looking this up. It's like pickled cauliflower.
Yes.
That sounds amazing. You don't like pickled things in general?
I don't. I've never really tried sauerkraut.
You've never had sauerkraut?
I don't think I have.
Okay. Oh, sauerkraut is all rippers.
Do you get that on your Costco hot dog?
Absolutely, I do. When they have it, they don't always have sauerkraut.
Okay. But I'm not like sauerkraut doesn't like it's not like a hard pass. It's just like I'm not gonna go with that. Does that make sense?
Sure.
So I'm
But
not ruling
I
out
like
that I
pickled
could enjoy the
things, and I like
cauliflower
things
kraut.
that are like strong flavors. I will say one time I got a cup of onions from Costco and left it in the car because I don't think they really have sauerkraut anymore for Costco hot dogs,
Okay.
which is a travesty if we are being honest.
And a sham and a mockery?
Yeah, they have Coke machines instead of Pepsi. We're okay with Costco at the moment, but like, and just in general, always okay with Costco. But the like getting rid of sauerkraut sucks. Onions are much harder to attain. They used to have the crank for onions. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I do,
Or you
yes.
just never did this. The crank was awesome, right?
I did.
When you're
I
doing
didn't
that,
do it, but I'm
you
familiar
feel like
with
a
it.
god when you're doing it. You're just like, I'm here cranking my own onions. None of you. Oh, you have ketchup on your hot dog. I've got all this shit. You know what I mean? I have it loaded up: relish, sauerkraut, onions, ketchup, mustard. I want it all. But in sauerkraut, I think is delicious in almost any situation. So
It seems very clear.
Kraut, I think is going to be very good.
It seems clear from the internet that sauerkraut is not currently available at Costco. Yeah. Okay. With that, it is time for your favorite segment.
Don't burn yourself. We got Mariners hot takes coming at ya.
One of the best things about winning a Super Bowl is that it drops you off right at the beginning of the best time of the year. Baseball season. That's right. And as I was standing at the trophy ceremony, watching the players speak and the fans of Seattle going nuts, it was clear to me. It's time. Just the day before that, pitchers and catchers reported for what is going to be a historic season for the Seattle Mariners and a historic year for the city of Seattle. 1969 New York, 1970 Baltimore, 1979 Pittsburgh, 1986 New York, 2018 Boston, and 2026 Seattle, Washington. This team has made an ALDS, played to the last out of the ALCS. Cal Raleigh, Brian Wu, George Kirby, and Julio Rodriguez all saw what it looks like in person. And now it is time for them to go get one themselves because it's time. Cooper Kupp came to the parade with the Mariners throwback because the fan base is here and they're primed. We've been through it all. We've done the character building of losing for decades. We've done the close enough thing. We've done the statues for slap hitters thing. We've done it all. except for bringing another trophy back to Seattle. And there's someone else who I hope was watching that victory parade this week. And that's Jerry Dipoto, because this isn't a 54% season. This isn't a, well, it's all part of a 10-year goal season. No. The 2026 season for the Seattle Mariners is the season. It is a put your chips in, this may never happen again type of season. If they have to use a year of sweet, sweet team control earlier than they want, if they have to dip into the war chest of prospects over the summer, now is the time to do it. Because I can tell you who would not care this time. And that is the 1 million fans who have been waiting to see the Mariners parading down these streets of Seattle. With the Seahawks being the template. One of them said it best. If you got anything to say about my catcher, if you got anything to say about my center fielder, if you got anything to say about our rotation, and you got anything to say about the city of Seattle, I got 2 words for you. Book you. Woo! It's baseball season. Let's go.
I'm surprised that you referred to it as, quote, our rotation, because traditionally in this podcast, it's referred to as 5 or plausibly more aces. That was one. I told you one of my favorite discoveries was going back through and re-listening to the 2023 preseason hot takes, the infamous no holes hot takes. And the funny part is that, like, Tommy LaStella didn't even come up because we did not anticipate that he was going to start at DH on opening day as he did. But when you listed Marco Gonzalez among the 5 aces, that was the moment. That was the moment for me. A couple of things here. It's interesting that obviously it's predictable that so many of those combined Super Bowl and World Series years involve New York, since they have multiple chances at both. But it's really not the same. Like, I guess 69 was Jets Mets, so that probably is the same fan base, but there's and I guess it was Yankees Giants. So there is enough overlap that it probably was the same team, but it's not quite the entire, region coming around behind them. Number 2, if the Mariners won the World Series, do you think that there would be more fans at the parade than for the Seahawks Super Bowl?
I don't think so.
Probably not, because I just don't feel like they have the same regional pull. But like, the Mariners winning the World Series would be so unprecedented, and just after so many years of frustration, they feel like there's more people that would fly here just for the parade as Mariners fans than if you're a Seahawks fan. I don't know that I've heard of anyone traveling for the parade specifically.
I'm sure that people did, but
I'm sure
the Mariners winning the World Series is unfathomable, which is why last year when I fathomed it, I knew that I was stupid.
Because we had gotten close enough with the Seahawks from the two. If they had won the Super Bowl during the 2005 season, that would have been unfathomable. But winning it when they did was not unfathomable.
I think we kind of expected to win in 2005.
I would not say I expected to win, but that was much more like the Mariners right now in terms of yes, we know this franchise is good and has enough talent to win the Super Bowl, but good things don't happen to us in Seattle sports.
The Seahawks have won 4 Super Bowl or played 4 Super Bowls, and they were the number 1 seed each time. And so it's kind of like they were the number 1 seed that year, and
Pittsburgh was not the number 1 seed, but Pittsburgh I still think was the favorite in that game.
It might have been, also because of where it was played too. But if you're the number 1 seed, you have a certain expectation from the season that happens before then. And the Mariners have been the number 1 seed in baseball 1 time ever, correct?
That sounds right. I don't know. I guess the Seahawks were -3.5 in that one. Wow, the Seahawks were almost as big favorites in Super Bowl XL as they were in Super Bowl LX. I'm starting to think that market might not be efficient.
So if the Mariners had a season, if they were the number 1 seed, we would feel a different level of confidence. I'm sure people did in 2001.
But baseball is still so random. And
that's the other thing.
I mean, the Yankees were obviously still the favorites in 2001. I don't care what the Mariners did during the regular season. So I don't know. So the other thought I had is like when we talk about the anticipation for the Seahawks season, part of the reason it wasn't as high and the interest wasn't as high early in the season because we were busy with Mariners fandom in a way that often in 2013, I don't remember whether I can't remember whether the even or odd years was good, but it certainly wasn't the same thing where that was sort of distracting attention away from the Seahawks. It is very fitting that I think the first time where I was like, oh, hey, this team could legitimately win the Super Bowl this year is when they beat down the Texans immediately after the Mariners season ended in Toronto. So there was kind of that switch flipping moment.
The 2013 Mariners were 71 and 91.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. Okay. So we talked about this for a second, but like, what was the point where you were like, this team is going to win the Super Bowl?
After they beat the Rams. I, I mean, I think this is again, Houston was there good enough to win the Super Bowl. I think probably the comeback against the Rams on Thursday Night Football was like, oh, this is real. Yeah.
I mean, there was that stretch, even with the Buccaneers loss, like, well, we just played close with Arizona, so we're feeling that confident.
Right. It's
But
we felt good about the Seahawks, like they're in the mix, but it wasn't anything that was quite to the level of, this team is going to win the Super Bowl in those first handful of games.
I think it might have been, well, I was very confident at various times throughout the season, but like,
We didn't give them enough credit for blowing out New Orleans because we didn't know how good the Saints really were.
no, that was before Shuck, though.
I know.
That was Spencer Rattler. But like the stretch of at Jacksonville, and they didn't even win a lot of these games by that much,
Right.
But like the Jacksonville,
Again,
Houston
Jacksonville
games,
kind of threw you off the scent.
domination. You know what I mean? Like, but I do think the way that they just casually went in there and won those games, and
But
then
we
the
also didn't know how
Washington
good
game,
the Jaguars were at that point.
but the Washington game was like, oh, this is the best team.
Right.
Because that was the moment when you destroy a team that badly, especially with Jane Daniels playing. It was and on the road, it was, and national TV. I mean, I think I might have said that it was going to be sort of like their national coronation was that
You
game.
did say that, yes.
I do think that was the one, the Commanders game, where it was kind of like, oh yeah, okay, we're like excellent. And then obviously looked forward to the at Rams game because it felt like these are the two best teams. But I do think it was post Commanders where all of a sudden the DVOA started creeping toward historic.
Right.
So that one, and then the win over the Cardinals, that just was never close. And it was kind of like, oh, DVOA is telling us the same thing that we're thinking. And Darnold was playing at such an extraordinarily high level too.
All right, but this is actually the Mariners section. So one bit of news here: the World Baseball Classic rosters were announced on Thursday, and the Seattle Times suggested that the 16 players from the Mariners organization appears to lead all major league teams.
Hello.
So that's cool. Dom Canzone and Miles Mastrobuoni, surprise inclusions on the Italy roster.
Hey.
Let's go. Cal Raleigh and Gabe Spire playing for the USA. Naturally, Randy Rosarena and Andres Munoz teaming up for Mexico. And then Julio Rodriguez will make his second WBC appearance for Dominican Republic, the most notable Mariners names. 7 of those 16, I think, are minor leaguers. So
Matt Festa, too,
all.
who's an honorary Mariner. Come on.
Yes. Yes. Once an Italian Mariner, always an Italian Mariner. Is
Yep.
Haggerty playing?
That's a good question. He is not.
Well, maybe
Okay,
that's
Mike
how,
Piazza's the manager again. Let's freaking go.
maybe that's how Master Boney got his roster spot. Is
He's
Haggerty
listed
not
as
playing?
bullpen catcher. Okay, he's an infielder too. He's pulling double duty there. Oh no, his brother. That must be his brother. Marcus Mastrobuoni is the bullpen catcher.
Huh.
It has to be.
One would think, yes. It seems very likely.
Oh, look at Marcus Mastrobuoni getting in the mix. Well, we're winning it all. That's what I meant by it's time. It's time for the World Baseball Classic to come back to Italy where it belongs.
Marcus played catcher at stages of his career along with first base. Last played in 2021 in the Independent League. So not as strong a career as Miles, but get that second career going as a bullpen catcher. All right, let's get into the roundup, starting with the Sounders. A split squad got split results last Thursday to close out their preseason stay in Marbella, Spain. A lineup made up primarily of starters beat Sweden's Hammarby IF 3-0, getting a pair of goals from Osaze de Rosario. Well, what was mostly a second unit lost 3-0 to medalist 1925 of Ukraine. The highlight of that match, Paul Areola played 30 minutes off the bench, his first game action since his ACL tear last year. One final tune-up for the Sounders before their February 22nd MLS opener, that coming Sunday against Louisville City FC, which plays in the USL Championship. I guess that's pretty much all, because the Kraken are on break, so that's pretty much all we got for the roundup this week. UW basketball.
UW basketball doesn't count as part of the roundup. They're separate.
They are separate from the roundup because we occasionally analyze them in depth. UW women's basketball lost their 2 games against ranked teams in the since we've last recorded. Hard fought loss last Thursday against the number 9 Buckeyes. They cut a 15-point deficit down to 4 with 2:09 left. But Jelani Cambridge scored and Savia Sellers missed on the next 2 possessions. A layup by Elsa Lemela with 25 seconds left all but iced it. Cambridge and Sellers scored 26 apiece, but Bryn McGoy, the only other Husky in double figures. The UW women did win the game they absolutely needed to ahead of the Super Bowl on Sunday, working overtime to win at Wisconsin behind a career-high 34 points and 14 boards from Avery Howell, shot 12 of 19 from the field, 6 of 13 from three-point range. Sellers added 23 points in that one. Then they capped that road trip with another tough loss to a ranked team Wednesday at Iowa. And the Eldadine 3 cut the deficit to 4 with 136 to play before Iowa scored on 3 consecutive possessions to produce the final 65-56 margin. Huskies had 19 turnovers, including 6 by Ladine, who was the team's leading scorer with 19 points. They are back home for the first Sunday for the first of 2 matchups with Oregon. The Ducks are a half game back overall at 18-8, but just 6-7 in Big Ten play compared to the Huskies 8-6. And that is reflected by in UW having a better seed in bracketology. They are currently a 7 seed there, where Oregon is sitting is an 8. They must have just gotten a good win because they are up from a 10 seed before that.
Okay, that's a good place to be right now.
Yeah, I mean, there was some hope that the Huskies could, with a really strong Big Ten play, get into the mix for, one of those top 4 seeds where you get to host the first 2 rounds. But they're feeling okay about things. Oregon beat Illinois, who beat the Huskies. They won in Illinois 76-73, so that was a nice win for them. UW men's basketball. 3 consecutive losses since we last potted in this stretch where we knew they needed to start winning a lot of games if they were going to have a chance to finish, get themselves onto the bubble. And that talk now seems quite laughable with the Huskies at 4-10 in Big Ten play. None of these were bad performances. So you were at the Iowa game, right?
Yes.
That was an 84-74 loss to the Fahim Bennett Sturtz's. Then a 77-73 loss Saturday at UCLA and a 63-60 loss Wednesday against Penn State that basically ended the season for all intents and purposes.
The good thing is there's just like this huge fan base that is rallying around these Huskies. Like the stadium is still packed. People really, really care about this team. No one is thinking about football at all.
Very
they definitely can fill even the student section, which runs like 500 deep. It is bleak. And I think this is a team that came into the season with expectations.
Yeah.
People were hypothetically excited about it. We didn't expect to be outnumbered by Iowa fans.
It was like one thing when, injuries were a big explanation for this. But Desmond Claude is out of the lineup now, and they certainly could use him. But they're as healthy as they have been all year. And
JJ Maniquit too. Don't forget about that.
That's true. He missed the most recent game. But
he's missed 3 in a row.
Oh, he didn't play in the Iowa game?
No.
Okay. But
I know you've been off in sunny Hawaii, but some of us are here looking at Maniquit news.
I mean, I was here for that game. I was just a little busy with the trade.
Oh, sorry, he didn't get traded. Anyway,
Huskies
I-
did legitimately hold Bennett Sturts to 22 points on 8 of 13 shooting when you consider that his following two games, home versus Northwestern, 36 points on 12 of 20 shooting. And then this was in a loss. They somehow lost at Maryland despite this performance. 32 points on 13 of 21 shooting, 6 assists, no turnovers.
Is he NBA chatter at all about Bennett Sturts, or is
Yeah, he's a first round pick.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. He has played 40 minutes in 5 of their last 6 games, resting only for 2 minutes in an 18-point win at Oregon.
Incredible, honestly. Like the game against Iowa, like the Huskies played a legitimately phenomenal first half, and that's how I knew
they
that
made
they were
every
not going to
shot.
win. I knew at halftime I was like, we're gonna lose, but like you just kind of hope, that the odds are not in your favor when you have a run like that, but you just hope that they can keep it close and maybe pick one off. And it just so quickly got chipped away in that game. I felt like it was pretty demoralizing. I will be honest, in that one, I was just like, cool, yeah, I'm done with this team. I mean, I paid attention. I ended up watching most of the UCLA game and some of the Penn State game, the entire second half of the Penn State game. So I guess I'm not fully done. Joke's on me. But like, it's almost a hate watch at this point, as any college basketball is, men's college basketball is. But the Penn State performance in particular just felt like they just ran out of fight, this team right now. I don't understand how that outcome happened. And I think you have to say that there's has to be some amount of accountability for Danny Sprinkle getting the players ready to play after a couple of tough losses. And like there were excuses to be made early in the season. The record was hard. You would have liked them to have won one of those games, but now at this point that the record isn't hard and they're still not beating teams, you have to look at the season overall and just be like, it's not that it's a waste, because it is the 1 year we'll have Hannah Steinbach and that's exciting, but like I'm not sure if they built anything here.
It's hard to build things in college basketball at this point. I mean, what I will say is the Huskies have been remarkably unlucky. If you look at Ken Palm's luck quotient, they are now out of 365 teams, ranked number 357. So they have basically been in Ken Palm the same team all season. They dropped as low as 60 after the UCLA loss at home during the during December during December, and they have gotten up as high as number 42 after they blew out Arkansas Pine Bluff in their opener. So there's been some variability, but they have been since they beat USC in the game after that, they have been between 52 and 44 in Ken Palm that entire span, which is exactly where they were projected coming into the season. They were number 45 at the start of the season, and they just haven't won the games, which it turns out is important.
You do need to win the games.
So we'll see. They are still favored in their last 6 games, according to Ken Palm.
I mean, if they get to 18 and 13, all of a sudden it is a respectable season at the very least.
Correct. And you would feel like there's a certain degree of momentum going into the Big Ten tournament. So that would be something. I mean, they could still get to 500 in conference play, amazingly enough. But that obviously is not going to be enough for them to, at this point, they would have to win the Big Ten tournament to make the NCAA tournament pretty clearly. Even though I guess the math says, I was saying 20 wins all along, and they would only need 2 wins in the Big Ten tournament to get there if they somehow won out, but they just wouldn't have enough good wins at that point.
No, at some point, like they're off the bubble right now.
No, yeah, nobody's talking about them. No.
The only thing that I can
Nor
say
should
is nobody's talking positively about them.
I don't think people are talking about them at all.
We're talking about them right now, and
we don't count as people.
Oh, sorry.
We talked about them when they went.
We always talk about them
when they went 5-21 in the 2020-21 season. We talked about them.
Does everybody make the Big Ten tournament?
I still do not think that is the case. Let me double check.
Okay. Here's what I'll say.
Oh, it will be the first tournament to all feature all 18 teams. Okay.
If you are coming off winning, say, how many games do they have to win in the Big Ten tournament? Is that 4 to win it?
Let me look at the bracket here.
This,
I mean,
this
assuming
also is, it's not the Pac-12. It's not like you could just sneak in there and win. There are actual good teams in the Big
they
Ten.
would have to win 5.
5 games. Okay, so let's say that they win.
I guess if they got to the semifinals,
If they win
got to the
6 in a row
championship.
and then they win another 3, maybe 4, how much momentum you would have off 9 straight wins? People
Right.
would be talking at the Huskies. So
'Cause-
it's hard to predict how you're going to feel in that moment.
Exactly.
You know, it's the Peltoncast golden rule. If the Huskies
Yes.
had won 9 in a row and they played close, the thing is, they're just not going to do that. This team
Right.
just lost to Penn State.
Right.
So, I mean, that Penn State loss, like, again, both of them, they could have had it. They played pretty well in the UCLA game, and it's just never enough. Their ability to close games is just awful. And to have somebody they could go to for buckets in those closing situations. I mean, not everybody can have a Bennett Sturts, but it would be nice. Wesley Yates played some really good basketball against UCLA early on, especially. Like, Wesley Yates looked good. And then they threw out the zone. I don't know. I'm sure you didn't see this at all. They threw out a zone.
I watched part of that game.
And it was as if the Huskies had never seen a zone in their entire life.
It wasn't great. Yeah, and Yates was pretty much a non-factor in the second half, right?
Yeah.
There's just not a lot to like about this team statistically in Big Ten play. Granting that the schedule has still been relatively difficult because, Penn State was like Iowa and UCLA, those were winnable games, and Northwestern was a relatively easy game. But Penn State was the first of like, no, these are actually the bottom tier of the conference they're playing. So that's the way it's the one that really is so painful. But they're 11th in Big Ten play in offensive rating, 12th in defensive rating. It's just not a recipe for winning games. They force turnovers at the lowest rate in the conference. They get to the free throw line. I guess this is the second lowest rate. There's 18 teams. At the second lowest rate, like they got to be better. The only thing they're good at statistically in Big Ten play is rebounding.
Cool.
So there you go. That's the state of UW basketball. Well, a reasonably promising start for UW softball in the UTSA Invitational. They split with number 9 Nebraska, losing 8-5 and winning 3-2. Were competitive against number 1 Texas with 11-6 and 5-0 losses. Then they hammered the host Roadrunners 17-0 in between. The Longhorns did drop a game to the Cornhuskers. So as a result of that, they are down to number 2 in the polls after 1 week. The Huskies moved up a spot to number 24 and leading the way offensively, predictably, Alexis DeBoer during that series that weekend went 6 of 13 with 3 home runs, 16 total bases, 5 walks. So she is the real deal without question. Huskies this weekend.
I will cheer a little bit less for Kalen DeBoer. I forget by the time it comes to football season. It's just so natural to cheer against Alabama.
It's actually a homecoming this weekend for Alexis DeBoer for part of where she spent at least part of her childhood. They're playing a series against Fresno State this weekend in a rare non-full tournament.
Very
weekend.
short part of her childhood.
Well, the offensive coordinator stint too. So it was a few years. Followed by games against San Jose State and Santa Clara in the Silicon Valley Classic on Sunday. Are you looking up how long Kalen DeBoer spent at
No,
Fresno
he's
State?
2 years, basically. It ended up being a chunk of time. I didn't realize how short of a time he was at Indiana. I thought he was there.
Yeah, he was only there for 1 year. Yeah. That's why he was going to get Jake Haener and not Michael Penix Jr.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, that comes up in the 500th pod.
Does it really?
A lot.
A lot? All right.
Jake Haener was a key focus of our coverage for a full year here. You want to talk about, we weren't talking about UW football or, we always talk about UW basketball. Our discussion about UW football for a full year was about Jake Haener.
Just coverage of Jake Haener.
It's great.
That is so funny.
All right, let's wrap up with a little Seahawks news unrelated to the parade.
It's so boring when the team is good.
You don't get to follow players on other teams.
Yeah, we don't get to follow Jake Haener at all.
Let me
I have
tell
no
you.
idea what Ethan Garbers is up to.
Wait, one of the Garbers ended up pretty good, right?
I mean, he was at UCLA. I don't know if he was pretty good.
Well, I'm saying Ethan, I think, ended up pretty good.
Yeah, sure. He went 5-6 in his senior year.
At Cal?
No, UCLA.
Oh, okay. All right. First off, the search to replace Clint Kubiak, now that he's officially taken the Raiders job, underway. Internal candidates who are expected to get interviewed. Tight end coach Mac Brown, not that one. Quarterback coach Andrew Janocko, assistant offensive line coach / run game specialist Justin Outen, and passing game coordinator Jake Peets. And then we had a report today of an external OC candidate, Cardinals pass game specialist Connor Sanger, who I believe had also interviewed for the Bears job in a non-play calling capacity. This is a really young, group, relatively speaking. Outen is the only member, person we know that they're planning to interview with play calling experience. He was the OC under Nathaniel Hackett during Russell Wilson's first Denver season.
Sure.
He only called plays the last 2 games after Hackett was fired.
Uh-huh.
When I think actually they did pretty well in the last 2 games of the season, didn't they? Was that include? Because they got blown out on Christmas Eve, I want to say.
Oh, the 2022 Denver Broncos. Wait, hold on.
Yeah, what were their last 2 games of the regular season? I felt like we were taking some hope for Russell Wilson from it.
Weren't we cheering against them that year, though?
Oh, yeah, because of the draft pick?
Yeah.
That's
It's the
right.
draft pick that led to Spoon.
It's the draft pick that became Spoon rather
They
than
scored
led to Spoon.
24 against the Chiefs, and then
Yeah,
they
and
beat the Chargers 31.
It did win. Yeah, we were upset about them winning week 17 or week 18 against the LA Chargers.
Because it
31-28.
cost us Anthony Richardson.
I know. I mean, there's a scenario where it could have been CJ Stroud, but again, all things
Because it
worked out at
cost
the
us CJ Stroud.
end. I mean, CJ
doesn't-
Stroud could be quite good. You're ruling out CJ Stroud possibly being good?
I'm just saying right now is not the time to be like it cost us CJ
I'm just
Stroud.
saying it was understandable that we were unhappy about it in
We
the
have
moment.
Sam Allen Darnold as our quarterback, and you're mentioning no turnovers. Sam Darnold, that's what his nickname is. And you're mentioning CJ Stroud.
It certainly worked out a lot better for him against the Patriots defense than it did for CJ Stroud.
I will say when we're judging Justin Outen, it is essential to overjudge these 2 games.
Exactly. To read everything into these 2 games. So we'll see what additional external candidates emerge. It'll be interesting if they don't really interview anybody with
Not
play calling
Latavius Murray,
experience.
15 carries for 103 yards. Oh, yeah?
But there was a lot of sentiment in the wake of the Super Bowl that the Seahawks expected to go in-house. Jake Peets, I think, is sort of considered the rising star of this group. Let me double check his experience here. Had been with the Rams as their pass game specialist before coming to the Seahawks. He actually was here. I guess he predated Kubiak, but had 2 years with the Rams. And a variety of other locations before that. Was at LSU. Is that under Joe Brady?
If he became the head coach of the Washington Huskies, people would be like, he jumps jobs every single year. Can't trust Jake Peets. So annoying.
Like that, even in the midst
No
of,
honor for Jake Peets. He just jumps to whatever team's willing to pay him.
even in the midst of celebrating the Super Bowl, you're still annoyed about
Mad
this.
about Jed Fish. That's what a coaching career looks like until you have the job. Anyway, so I do think there's some concern that of coaches following Clint Kubiak
Well,
to Vegas.
it was also reported in the wake of it by several Seahawks reporters that was not likely to happen. And today we got a report from Jeremy Fowler that the Raiders requested to interview Justin Outen apparently for run game coordinator, but the Seahawks blocked the request.
Now, could they do that for any of these coaches?
It depends, I think, whether you're being interviewed
It's a promotion
for
or
a
not.
promotion. Yeah,
Yeah.
which that would not be.
Which Clint Kubiak hasn't hired an offensive coordinator, correct?
I don't think he's hired anyone yet that
Okay.
I've seen. But the Seahawks do have let's see.
I'm happy to know that Jake Peets is described as a rising star because we're the same age. So and usually people who are rising stars are like
Or
10 years
30.
younger than
Well,
I am.
Yeah, Connor Singer, who they interviewed, is 30. I may
Yeah.
have been wrong about the Jake Pete's rising star. That may have been my bad. I noticed the same thing. The Raiders have hired Mike McCoy as assistant head coach to give him someone with some head coaching experience on the roster or on the coaching staff.
Cool.
So, uh,
have fun with that, Clint.
I mean,
It's not negative
because of
toward Clint
Leslie
Cooper.
Frazier's, amazing run as a head coach, like this is not necessarily the point.
Oh, Leslie Frazier is awesome. I've always loved Leslie Frazier.
Was Leslie Frazier the coach when they made the playoffs and ended up having to start the third string quarterback or that I cannot remember their name?
I'm pretty sure that was after that.
They all run together. The Vikings did make the playoffs in 2012 under Leslie Frazier, and yeah, I'm pretty sure that was that game.
Oh, really?
24-10 loss at Green Bay, started by Joe Webb, who went 11 of 30 for 180 yards. Not, I'm gonna say, Leslie Frazier's fault on that one. But overall, his record was 21-32-1 for a 398 win percentage.
Fine.
This is, this is just what happens. If you had an amazing head coach, they wouldn't be available to be your assistant head coach. Like that's, you're. I mean, maybe you could hire you. The Raiders are probably not hiring Pete Carroll in that role. Maybe somebody else could. Anyways, we do have a new Seahawks assistant coach on the offensive side. Is Adam Schefter reported that the Seahawks are hiring former Ravens director of football strategy / assistant QB coach Daniel Stern. Definitely not that one. Who spent a decade in Baltimore, including working alongside Mike McDonald. Stern, highly regarded within the league for his game management, really got a lot of pub from third Pelton brother Sheil Kapadia in the wake of the Ravens successfully going for that fourth down at Lumen Field that Lamar Jackson scored a touchdown on, right, during the 2019 season.
This was all the way back to Daniel Stern. He got that press for it?
He did, yeah.
Wow. All right.
Yeah, because that was Lamar's first season as a starter, I want to say. I mean, that seems like a long, long time ago, but yeah, I think that was his first season that was his MVP
Oh God, from
season.
Yale. Ugh.
No wonder Mina was excited about it. Yeah, he scored the touchdown to give them a 20-13 lead in a tie game. So it was very much a, you know, envy of the other team for their decision making, and good to have him on the Seahawks side because of their known aggressiveness on fourth downs now under Mike McDonald. Any last thoughts on the parade?
Nope.
Okay. On that note,
there were a lot of people. We walked over to the parade after the ceremony thing. It was a beautiful day. Seattle showed up, I have to say. So that was very nice. I was feeling a lot of civic pride.
There you go. Love it.
Across the board. But yeah, no, it's baseball season now. Football's been nice. Have fun talking about Justin Outen or Jake Peets or whatever. But like, it is baseball season now. Here we freaking go.
You're only discussing various members of the Mastroboni family.
Yeah. I had the roster wrong. So I was looking at the 2013 roster for the Italian team. Marcus Mastroboni does not appear to be with the team in 2026.
Bummer.
And the manager is Francisco Cervelli, because only catchers can manage baseball teams, as is the rule.
There you go.
It's like a manager in training job.
Gotta have a former catcher. On that note,
thanks for listening.
Thanks.
I have like 3 minutes for post-pod talk because I have to go pick up children from early release.
Do your kids attend any school at this point? I guess we didn't talk about the kids' experience at the parade.
They had a great time.
Because did we bring Luca with us?
No, he definitely did not come. We walked I feel like it was 3 miles.
We parked on like it was essentially in Georgetown. It was definitely before the bridges over the railroads. I
I
know that we
remember
crossed that
walking back,
bridge.
and it was like it was a journey. It was a journey both
We
ways.
covered more distance walking than the parade did,
Yeah.
and we were not on a float. And it
Was
was so
light
cool.
rail not open then, or was it in
It's
sort of?
definitely open,
We just didn't have the kind of the infrastructure or the knowledge of it. I feel like the city really the infrastructure is quite a bit better this Super Bowl.
without question.
So that's nice. Is the line going across? It's not open yet, right?
It is not quite open yet.
It is funny where I'm like, oh, I can't wait to go to Bellevue.
You're on that side. You're trying to drive into where you like to park for the light rail and then
Yeah.
take it.
Drive to Columbia City to go to Bellevue. Well, I mean, you'd have to do it from Beacon Hill, but like,
What do you mean?
isn't that where the station is? That it goes between the two?
No.
Oh wait, which station is it?
I mean, you ride it to downtown and then switch. I mean, none of the existing line one routes outside of that are going to be on the line two across. But I think there is maybe a new stop opening up. I don't know. I'm woefully uninformed on this.
I thought it was from Beacon Hill that you caught the connection to the Toon Line.
I don't think so.
Oh,
The line two immediately heads east after. I guess it does appear to through the International District stop.
Yeah.
That you can switch, but then they're opening a new Judkins Park stop on this
okay. It's
side
the ID
as
stop,
part
not
of line
Beacon Hill.
two.
Never mind. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, Beacon Hill is considerably south. It will strictly be part of line one. When line three eventually opens up to West Seattle, it will be.
There is going to be a line to West Seattle.
Yeah.
How far south is the plan to go?
Just to the junction. Or the
No. How far south, like overall, like past Olympia?
Oh, I don't know about that.
It's so strange having public transit.
That's great.
Of course, none of it comes anywhere near me.
I will always fondly remember in ninth grade, the day after the 1996 election, when we approved sound transit. I didn't ever vote. I was 14.
Ninth grade.
To take note, certain listeners, it was not voting before age 18. And it was like so excited to be able to take light rail to the Sonics games. And then by the time light
Wow.
rail actually opened, the Sonics had moved. And light rail does not go to Key Arena at this point. But someday it will. Did I say Key Arena? It doesn't go to Climate Pledge.
That was an all-time sad thought.
I guess one thing we didn't mention, this is kind of during the pod, after the pod, is that Saturday will be Adam Silver's annual All-Star press conference, and we'll see what he has to say on the topic of
We haven't talked about.
expansion.
There's a meeting with Bob Ferguson that everybody was pretty excited about.
Yeah, I'm not sure that anything of note came out of that, but also Maria Cantwell said that she expects to get more. There will be more details shared about the expansion process in March, which would be aligned with the timing for the Board of Governors press meeting around that and Adam Silver's related.
Are we feeling good?
I don't know how much things have really changed, but it does. The vibes are certainly a lot better right now.
I like that we got to this after incorrectly talking about light rail stops. We were like, now's the time to get to that.
Look, the Peltoncast is nothing if not Seattle. Look, the Discord loves it some light rail talk. They're more excited about that.
It was the most people. I mean, I'm sure it's the most people who've ever ridden it, but like,
yeah,
it was dangerously packed. There were a couple more people who got on. Some people like traveled down to Star Lake to get on, and for some reason, I just don't fuck with that shit. I was just like, we are going to Rainier Beach, and that like I will go. That is the southest stop that I would go to. I would not go to Tukwila.
I don't think I'd ever heard. I don't know Star Lake, but okay, there you go.
You don't know the lake itself?
No,
we went there over. Luger was playing a baseball tournament across the street from it. We went and like they had a whole like basically like an Italian picnic going on, like a neighborhood event going on.
that's
There's
awesome.
like a band playing. I think Jan used to hang out there back in the day. Anyway, I don't fuck with that shit. I only drive to Rainier Beach. I will drive to any of the stops, Rainier Beach to Beacon Hill, but I will not go to any other stops.
I think they used to go to Dash Point all the time. That was definitely mentioned in our grandmother the other side's diary. And I don't feel like I've ever in my life been to Dash Point. Maybe we went as kids, but I don't remember it.
All right, I actually have to go pick up children.
All right.
Bye.